Greetings, sports fans. Welcome back to ASMR Sports. I have decided to try a kind of new series of videos that I will use like a common thumbnail image with, of course, variations for the content therein. But yeah, I'm going to call this One Pack ASMR, where we kind of slow roll the opening of a single pack of cards. Could be any sport, could be non-sports. And, we'll take our time and explore all aspects of the set that can be reasonably discussed in the context of a single pack opening, and hopefully we'll get some bangers. And if the mood strikes, we'll consult the venerable Beckett Baseball Card Monthly magazine from the relevant time period, or as close as we can get. This one's from September 1989. And see what these cards were worth back around the time that they came out, or maybe shortly before or after. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I've got like I don't know, 20 or 30 packs kind of stacked up and ready to be turned into videos to share with you all. So hopefully I can find some interesting things to talk about as we go through these. And if you're looking for me to just kind of rip through a pack of cards and quickly show you the best hits, this series is not going to be for you. That sounds like something that maybe would make a good short on YouTube, but we're in here for the long haul. We're looking to sit down, kick back, and relax for 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes if we have a larger pack with a lot of cards to talk about inside. So if that suits you, I hope you'll give a like to this video and subscribe to the channel. Look for our future One Pack ASMR episodes. So today we have 1988 Donruss baseball puzzle and cards. 15 cards in a pack, and you get a little puzzle piece with 3 small kind of little jigsaw puzzle pieces on one thick cardboard card. As with many packs from the 80s, there's a little promotion. It's funny. I bought a lot of these packs when I was a kid and was pretty avid baseball card collector during the time that this was out, but I never in a million years thought about trying to take advantage of any of these offers that appear on many of the packs of these things from the different manufacturers. So Topps had lots of stuff that you could send in for, but I never did. And these are oversized, or 5x7 Diamond King cards on high gloss. Man, $8 and 3 wrappers. Oh, it's for 26, so you get like the whole set of them, so I guess that's not a terrible deal. But that was some serious money. There's no way I would have done that when I was a kid. Too much of an investment. And it's funny, I've seen a lot of little oddball stuff at card shows from, crazy sets that were sold, only at like Ben Franklin stores, or only in Walgreens or KB or Toys R Us. There's lots of stuff like that from the 80s that you see at card shows, but I've never in my life seen one or a set of these oversized 5x7 glossy Diamond King cards. So someday I may search eBay and see if I can find anybody selling them. Maybe if they were real cheap, I would give them a try. Just check them out. Well, this stuff, was really right in the height or depth, depending on your perspective, of the junk wax era, and there was just a ton of this stuff printed, and there still is a ton of this stuff around. But back in 1988, there were some very nice rookies you could pull out of here that would make any young collector very happy to have them. And I opened a good amount of this stuff. And the design is sort of, we'll take a look here. I'll take the back card since we already saw who it was. The design was not, super great, particularly given that before this set of 1988, Donruss had a pretty good reputation as being the most valuable of the, major manufacturers of baseball cards, namely Topps, Donruss, and Fleer. They had a particularly strong showing with the 1984 Donruss set, which had, some very key rookies at the time, like Darryl Strawberry, Don Mattingly, and a few others. And that set was very low print. Not a lot of it was made. So it still today goes for, $700 or so for a wax box of it. And honestly, I think that's a steal because those things are only getting rarer by the day. And anybody who collected cards during that time has an innate appreciation for that set, given how valuable it was back then, and how special, like, the cards that came out of it were. If you got the top rookies, in particular the Don Mattingly. So, anyways, 84 Donruss was great. 85 Donruss was, was okay. 86 Donruss was a huge success and a beautiful set, I think. Very simple design to it, and some, mega rookies in there like Jose Canseco, Fred McGriff, and quite a few others. Most of whom have sort of faded from, importance or value over time. But back then there was a ton of really good cards. 87 was also a banger of a set. The design was kind of not so great, but it had some really cool cards, like a Bo Jackson, Raid Rookie, and at the time, very, popular cards of Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, and a bunch of other rookies that back then were very sought after, but, never really did much. This set does have a few decent rookies in it, but of course back in 1988, 1989, those many more cards were very sought after and desirable, because they were, cards of rookies that people thought were going to do big things, even though time would tell that they were not going to do big things, as is frequently the case with prospects and rookies. So, absolutely god-awful centering on this, and I suspect we'll see a few cards that are terribly off-center. This might be the most off-center one, though. Dale Mahorkic, pitcher of no great consequence. This one's quite a bit better centering. Hopefully they get better as we go deeper into the pack. Mike Heath, I think, was a pretty solid catcher there for a big chunk of the 80s. Started out with the A's, then moved on to the Tigers after a little stint with the Cards. Not really much of a hitter, but probably a solid defender. John Kruk, everybody's favorite, completely out of shape, very solid hitting, goofball. He looks very young in this. And, gosh, was this his rookie year? I feel like it might have been. I don't think he has cards from 87. But he might in 87 Donruss, but I feel like he doesn't, so this might be a rookie. Yeah, so John Kruk actually had a pretty solid career. I think mostly people think of him as a Philly, but played with a number of teams and came up with the Padres here. So, there you have it. John Kruk, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, well now we're getting to some decent centered cards. Jimmy Key was a very good pitcher for the Blue Jays, who had some very strong teams. At this time, they had a lot of good offense, and they had some pretty solid pitching, too. Tom Henke comes to mind, and Jimmy Key was another, very solid pitcher during this time. We'll take a look at his stats. So, in 87, he was 17-8 with a 2.76 ERA, which looks like it led the league. So he was a, kind of top of the league type pitcher for a few seasons and put together a pretty solid career. Nowhere near Hall of Fame, I don't think. Not sure how many wins he ended up with over his career, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 200 plus. What else is interesting from this? Yeah, not much else, but yeah, he was his rookie cards were 1985, and I remember them having some value back in the late 80s, when he was doing real well. All right, Wally Ritchie. Wow, lots of pitchers we don't like to see. And then we're back to wildly off center in the pack here. Alright, Junior Ortiz. Never really knew much about Junior Ortiz, or really most of the Pirates, other than the big guys like Bonilla and Bonds. They were a pretty crappy team back then. So, they had some good draft picks and ended up having some pretty big stars, but didn't really pay much attention at all to them as a fan when I was very young. Man, way too many pitchers in this pack. If we're gonna open one pack, we gotta minimize the pitchers, guys, or else we're in trouble. Mark Davis. I think he was actually pretty good. Too, from Scottsdale, or lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. So came up with the Giants. Pretty terrible win-loss record, 31-52. I feel like maybe he had some better seasons after this. Let the league and earn runs, which is not what you want to do as a pitcher. Alright, well, I was hoping we would see a Diamond King, a It wasn't Billy Hatcher. He's, kind of an average player. I think he had some good seasons, but yeah, not one of the better Diamond Kings you can get. And we'll take a quick look at what his card says there. Billy Hatcher, if he can stay injury-free, might well prove to be one of the Astros' great trades. It came from the Cubs in late '85, and in '86 he played his way into being the regular center fielder. Then in 1987, he began to blossom. Billy had 296, team high among regulars, and led the Astros with 96 runs and 53 stolen bases. I didn't know he was such a prolific base stealer. Third in the NL at age 27. He should anchor the Astros outfield for many seasons. All right, there you go. So I will be very sad if we don't get a rated rookie out of this pack, because, Donruss cards to me are synonymous with rated rookies. Those are what you're looking for, and I just love the rated rookie, design, which looks the same today when they use it in various different products that they make, as it did back then. So that's kind of cool. Jerry Brown, this he's not a rookie. His rookies were in '87. I remember he was like a half-decent prospect back in the day, but I don't think he really did much in the bigs. Another pitcher. Oh, Mike Morgan. Then another behind him. Tom Browning was pretty solid. Reds had some pretty nice teams back in the late '80s. Well, in '85 he was 20-9, which is pretty dang good. 45 and 35 on his career at this point, so pretty solid numbers there. Yeah, he was definitely good for a stretch. Dan Quisenberry, everybody's favorite submarine relief pitcher, one of the best relief pitchers of the era for sure. Let's take a look at his stats. So you look at those saves numbers, and they're very solid. I mean, he led the league in saves in '83, '84, '85, and probably had some injuries in these 2 years. But look at those ERAs: 194, 264, 230. I mean, this guy was lights out. Absolutely. I know he won the Rolaids Relief Man of the Year award, which is like the top pitching award for relief pitchers. He won that many times. And I think he was like, he's certainly one of the most dominant relief pitchers of his era, and like the concept of a relief pitcher, a relief like specialist, was something that like didn't exist for a lot, at least not like like a closer, which I think he was. Didn't sort of exist for much of baseball's history, but then kind of like in the '70s and especially in the '80s, it started to really become a concept that most teams, adopted. And now, of course, we have very specialized relief roles. We have setup guys, long relievers, closers, and relief pitching is sort of it's a career that many pitchers just start out in. Whereas I think that was very rare to like kind of come up and start as a reliever. It was something that probably happened really only when you didn't have success as a starter, and that certainly happens these days. But back then, there just weren't that many pitchers that started as relievers and really focused their entire career on it like there are today. All right, last card, Pat Pasio. He does not look very Hispanic, so I feel like that's maybe like Pat Pacolo or something. I don't know. Let's see where he's from. Yeah, he's from New Jersey and lived in Florida, so yeah, probably Pacolo or Pacolo. Wow, he was the #1 first round pick for the Reds in the '84 draft. So must have been pretty good at some point. It's the first I've ever heard of this guy, though, so I don't think he really did much. He's no Tom Browning. Alright, well, there you have it. I am a bit sad we did not get a rated rookie. I would love to have shown you one of those. One thing I did maybe want to do is look up that John Kruk just to see if it is a rookie. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like there is an 87 if I can sort of see in my mind's eye. An 87 Fleer card of him. We'll see if this 88 Donruss, probably second year card, was worth anything in 1989. This is number 205. Yeah, so not listed, so I guess that's definitely not a rookie. I think it would be listed if it was a rookie. And we can see the most valuable cards in the 88 set here as of 1989. Mark Grace, $3. Greg Jeffries, $6.50, but that was definitely up to like $8. I remember very well that like all the Greg Jeffries rookies were $8 back in 1988 when there was just like a real frenzy over his stuff. He was going to be the next like Babe Ruth, but he had a decent career, but not nearly what people were expecting, and he was one of the just hottest, he was really the hottest player for collectors back in 1988 when, these 88 products came out, and he was in the 88 Donruss set, the 88 Fleer set, but not 88 Tops. Everybody was chasing those 88 Donruss and Fleer. Oh, and he was in Score, too, so, man, that was, I remember that so clearly, being at a card show and, like, trying to find 88 baseball products to open to find those Greg Jeffries cards, and I definitely did find a bunch, and then I ended up, like, trading them back to dealers for more unopened stuff. So, those were the days. Alright, folks, hope you guys enjoyed our trip down to 1988 Donruss land. We'll see y'all next time for the next one-pack ASMR, and look forward to bringing those to you. Alright, thanks everybody, we'll catch y'all later.